G'day Internet. A few months ago, one of our valued clients and mates, Jake, reached out to us with a little bit of a weird request, something that's not often asked about in this shop or in the custom world in general. The bike had a bit of a backstory to it, so I couldn't say no. So over the last little while, we've been meticulously restoring the cutest little bike that you're ever going to see in our garage, this 1978 CT70. Now, restorations are something that we've been getting into a little bit more lately, and while they're void of all the wild custom work that you're used to from purpose-built moto, they definitely serve their purpose and catch our interest as bike builders. So let me run you through all the nitty-gritty details on probably the smallest and funnest bike you're ever going to see out of this shop. So this little thing has been known to Jake and particularly his wife since she was a teenager. They had one in their house growing up and have memories of it hooning around the backyard, and this is the bike that they learnt to ride on. So a little while ago, they found the bike, pulled it out of the garage and got it back running again. Since then, it's been living on the Gold Coast and Jake's been riding it around. It gets taken up to the shops on a Saturday morning to get some milk and eggs, all that sort of thing. And he reckons it's the funnest thing he's ever ridden. So we wanted to make sure we did this thing justice, bring it back to absolutely factory condition with a few tiny little tweaks and definitely some upgrades. More on the performance side, so it's a little bit more rideable on today's roads because this is predominantly street ridden. Now, at the time that Jake reached out and wanted us to do this bike, I was out of my mind busy, but that's nothing really new here. We just always have heaps going on. But I like the guy. We're building another bike for him in the back there, so I couldn't say no to him. What he wanted was to go through this thing absolutely nut and bolt restoration and then give it a few tweaks and minor upgrades. So we started with the motor because that's all that I could take into the shop at the time. So I said to him, we'll start there, and then once we're finished with the motor, we'll move on. The engine was fine, although it was reasonably tired, had a few bits and pieces missing on it and stuff like that. They just get old, and mini bikes just get not very well looked after, I would say, just because they're left in the garage and thrashed at family parties. But we went with a 110cc kit. So this is a kit that you put into the original Honda crankcase. They come with a new piston, a new crank, a new barrel, and a new head. Pretty much everything bolts onto the Honda crankcases. So there are a few different types of this kit. We went with the manual clutch conversion 110cc kit, and then obviously got like the upgraded carb and all that sort of stuff with it. We have also fitted a new exhaust, and I scoured the earth for this because a lot of the 110cc upgrade kits that you can buy with new exhaust, they change the style of the exhaust. They don't have the original sort of mini trail exhaust that we wanted on this thing. So we found one that we could customize and modify and then finish out in a almost factory style. So, I mean, if you look once, you'll think it's the standard exhaust, but if you look twice, you can sort of see the header's a bit bigger and stuff like that. But we've utilized the factory heat shield and stuff there, which is a really iconic piece on these little machines, I think. So once we'd had that done, the engine was buttoned up, put in place. We started to gather parts of this thing, pull things down, repair, clean. There was a bunch of little bits and pieces that we had to do, which I'll start running you through now. So what we wanted to do with this, while maintaining the real soul of this motorcycle as the 78 CT70 mini trail, we wanted to sort of elevate the factory finishes. So things like the forks are being polished, the rims are being stripped, cleaned and chromed, the hubs are being stripped and polished. We've got the brake plates polished. Everything's been re-chromed on the front here. You have your headlight ears that have been chromed, the fender's chromed. Like, there's so much chrome on this thing. The chrome bill on this bike was definitely worth more than the bike was. But when you're chasing down a bike that has sort of nostalgic significance to you and it's a bit sentimental, a lot of the time that goes out the window. You just want what you want, and at the end of the day, that's what we're here to deliver. So there was a bunch of little bits and pieces, touches that aren't factory on this thing that we wanted to restore as we found the bike, because that's how it was when it came to us. So we wanted to sort of keep that heritage. That one of those things being this this Honda wing hood emblem. It's put onto like a stainless steel eyelid. This was in pretty bad shape, so we spent a bit of time like beating the dents out of it, cleaning it right up, getting this cleaned and polished back up. So another like really cool piece on this DAX that I don't know if I've ever seen one before. It might have been off another model, or it could have been like an accessory that you can buy from one of the billions of aftermarket parts suppliers for these things. But yeah, just like a weird little cool touch that we put on. One of the only sort of custom things that we did on this bike was fit a set of our LED indicators. So it had these really huge orange plastic ones. I really hate the look of those things on any bike. So those are being replaced. We put some nice, tiny, slim LED indicators. We've upgraded the running system to 12 volt. So the headlight, LED indicators and tail light all run on 12 volt now with a 12 volt battery under the seat. Gives you a lot brighter output, and it's not that hard to do. It's just a matter of changing the reg over and having things wired in the way that they should be, and then changing your lamps. Oh, and you also got to change the lamps in your Speedo too. So that was one Cody found out when he was wiring this thing. He turned the key on and we'd replaced some of the bulbs, but not all. So he blew all the dash lights in the gauge. So those have been replaced, and we were good to go. With the chrome work that came out, we had these original crash bars that have been revived, repaired, and put back in place, as well as the exhaust heat shield there. We had to do a little bit of modification to make that fit with the big exhaust that we put on it, just because it had like a larger diameter and a bigger throw on the bend and stuff like that, but nothing we couldn't handle, just a few cuts and repolishing that exhaust once it was welded up. Moving up onto the handlebars now, we've got these beautifully re-chromed handlebars. We've stripped and polished the original switches. So we sort of like took all those apart, restored that, and put them back together. When it comes to restoration, guys, this is like, it's a whole other game to what we usually do, because usually when we're tearing down a bike, it's half of the fucking things going in the bin anyway. So with this, it was a lot different. You got to change the way that you think, you got to change the way that you work. You're sort of taking things down, taking photos of stuff, making sure it goes back the way it came apart, all that sort of stuff. So like I said before, it's not something that we do all the time, but I feel like as a bike builder, it's a really good exercise to try and sort of like, just like sharpen your skills. And we're always learning here. It's not like we're the best at everything, but with this sort of thing, it's really important, I think, to try new things, bend your mind in a different way. And this bike, as small and as fun as it was to do, it was sort of like a different way of thinking, a different mode of operation for us. So that's why I'm trying to keep a restoration or two in the shop at the moment, because keeps us on our toes. Sometimes I get sick of grinding and welding all the time. It's just nice to work on something different. So we've put obviously the manual clutch conversion on here, and then a set of our little scrambler mirrors. They fit the bill really well. Tiny bike, tiny little mirrors that do the job really nicely, and they look at home on the bike. The nice round shape, convex lens, pretty at home on like a classic bike or a modern bike. So if you like the look of that stuff, jump onto the PBM website, check that out, and you can get a set of those for your own bike. They come in the bar mount configuration, or you can get them on bar end setups. There's a whole heap of options. When I design this stuff, I make it for you, the user, to be able to modify and use as you like. Coming under the seat now, we have a fresh vinyl cover that's been fitted up by Jameson at Timeless Auto Trim. Battery box and horn neatly tucked under there, hide our wiring away. And the fuel tank, of course, like I said, everything's been touched on this thing. It was completely pulled apart. So fuel tank cleaned, resprayed, fuel cap resprayed. We sort of like went to the ends of the earth on this little thing. So final bits and pieces on this thing were rebuilding the suspension, fitting new fork boots. We were going back and forth with the guys at Classic Honda 50s Australia. They just have myriad parts for these bikes, so we were back and forth with them, finding little things that we were missing off the bike and getting things in place. There's just all manner of tiny little bits and pieces, and they had nearly all of it, which was awesome. So finishing the tail tidy, Jake, I don't know, somehow managed to get himself the CT70 custom plate, which is probably rare as hen's teeth. So I think that's like a really awesome touch that he has. New brake light lens, everything's been cleaned up here, re-rubbered. Again, our purpose-built Moto dome indicators on the back there. Then we've bumped the gearing on this thing so we could get it a little bit more street friendly. Like I said before, we've got the big bore kit in the engine. We've dropped the rear sprocket to 30 teeth and we're running a 17 tooth on the front, so that just gears it right up for street use, and it still pulls pretty well. Like, it's a tiny little bike, but it feels pretty decent on the road. You'd be able to do 80 Ks on it. I wouldn't probably take it on a motorway, but it'll get the job done around town, that's for sure. Once this thing was buttoned up, it was time to chuck it on the bench for its final service. So Moto oil in the engine, Moto oil in the forks, Moto chain lube on the chain, which brings me conveniently to today's sponsor, Moto. These guys have been a massive supporter of ours for a long time. We stand behind the products that we use in all of our bikes and they stand behind us. So a match made in heaven, really. Moto have a huge range of parts for servicing your motorcycle, cleaning your motorcycle, and making sure it is always in tip-top shape. Make sure you jump over to their website. You can see what's suitable for your motorcycle, for your jackets, gear, cleaning your seats, all manner of stuff that they've got there. We deck our workshop out head to toe with all of their gear because we use it on every single bike that comes through this shop. So make sure you go check it out the next time you need some fluids for your machine. That's going to wrap it up on the smallest build rundown that you'll ever see come out of purpose-built moto, guys. I'm going to take this thing for a little rip around the car park. We'll throw a bit of test ride footage in there and see you on the next one. Listen to that, hey?